This Week in Startups is brought to you by Walker Corporate Law, specializing in the representation of entrepreneurs. Visit walkercorporatelaw.com. InVision. Get InVision for startups with unlimited users on the full suite of InVision tools, plus enterprise-level security and support at invision.com/twist. That's INVISION.com/twist. And LinkedIn. You need LinkedIn Jobs to find the right people for your business. Post a job today at linkedin.com/twist and get $50 off your first job post. Upcoming launch events. Apply for our next Founder University September 9th and 10th in San Francisco at founder.university. And get your free Founder Pass for Launch Scale in San Francisco October 7th and 8th at launchscale.net/tickets.
One of the things we like to do is challenge speakers to come up, and teach you guys lessons like Raul did. I thought that was particularly good. Some combination of founders coming up and asking us questions. And we have a tradition. I call it the victory lap. It's the fireside chat. We reserve the fireside chat for the founders. Really made it. They figured it out. And we get to just relax a little bit and have a conversation about their journey. And David Rogier, come on up. Where are you? Is the co-founder of MasterClass.com. Let's give him a big round of applause. Now, is MasterClass down under?
Yeah, about a fifth of our students are from here. So
really?
Thank you. Yeah.
Wow. Anybody in the room, who knows what MasterClass is? Raise your hand nice and high. Okay. Who's paid for MasterClass? Keep them up. Okay.
Thank you.
You got some paid customers. And that is kind of mind-blowing, you have to admit, to go thousands of miles away. And what's that? Oh, we have a video? All right, we'll play that in a second. To go thousands of miles away and have people who actually have purchased your product. When did you start MasterClass?
So I started in 2014, but we didn't launch for another year and a half, which is a long time in startup world.
Yeah. So 2015-ish you launched, and now it's 2019. So it's only been out in the market for 4 years. Broad strokes, how many classes, how many customers? What can you tell us?
Yeah, we, by the end of this year, we'll have about 80 classes. We have raised $150 million.
Significant.
We have 200 employees. Yeah.
But you don't say the number of paid customers.
Correct.
However, since I have a lot of information, I can report that it is in the six figures and approaching 7. Got it. He's nodding. He's not confirming or denying, but boy, that's a big fucking smile, huh? Let's play the video.
I just want the top end.
I look for a tone. I look for that spark. Ideas are not limited by budget.
You don't need a big old studio to do what you need to do. You can do this on your own if you have your computer and your mic.
The interesting ideas come from some kid in a garage in the Bronx on an iPad.
It's about you. You are your own sound.
It's all about having fun.
She got me standing on my head again. Stop. Watch this.
If somebody tells you that there's a rule, break it. That's the only thing that moves things forward.
If you're standing behind a desk and you're having an amazing time, it'll have an effect on people.
If you love it that much, it's gonna happen.
You can get there. Trust me. I'm Armin van Buren.
I'm Hans Zimmer.
I'm Timbaland, and this is my masterclass.
Applause for that. Beautiful. When I look at the content you create, what I noticed, and we met early on when you were starting, and I missed the investment, which, boy, that's a 50x mistake. Gosh, so painful. I remember the meeting like it was yesterday.
I do too.
So bad. Because I was, you know what? It's like another one of these great meetings because I was like, this is so brilliant. It's going to work, whatever. But I was like, you're at like 20 or 30 million. This is kind of past my window, but I wish you great success with it. You had one course at that time, Dustin Hoffman. And I think my big concern for you was, and I'm interested to hear your perspective, was, is this repeatable? Like, God, I know you guys have some to Dustin Hoffman because I think you lived in Brentwood too, and I lived in Brentwood, and Dustin Hoffman is basically in the Village for 6 hours a day, walking around in his sweatpants, talking to every single person. I was like, it's really not a big deal to get Dustin Hoffman. Dustin Hoffman is talking to me when I'm trying to pick out what yogurt to get. Like, the guy is the 100% extrovert who's accosting everybody in Brentwood to have a conversation. What's the story with him? Is he just...
Yeah, Dustin. So it took us a year to get our first instructor, and Dustin was the first. And I remember I pitched him, and Dustin goes, "I'm in," and I was like, "Holy shit, in for what?" And he's like, "I don't know. I said I was going to teach. I'm pretty good with that." And we still had to get his agent and his team involved. But at least I had one person that I could go now around and tell everybody that Dustin was going to do it. To everybody else who does not live in Brentwood, It was, oh my God. So that was like a good kind of first one to go get. And he really believed in the kind of core mission.
And what's so great about that story is, like, so much of what we do as founders is just not give up. And something breaks, something turns the corner for you, and it's just transformative. And I think if you get Dustin Hoffman, I was sort of joking about how extroverted and out there he is, but the fact that he is so prone to say yes, because he's just living life. Now he knows everybody. Everybody loves Dustin Hoffman. He must have been the unlock for so many other people. It's like getting some cheat code, is it not?
Yeah, and it even started before him. So I had to figure out, how am I going to get these people to actually teach? And everybody said, I'm never going to get them.
Yeah.
And I realized they don't live in the same world as us. So in our world, in our tech world, if a friend says, "Hey, I know Jason, I will intro you," then the friend does it, and I get a response back from Jason.
Sure.
If I get a friend to introduce me to Dustin Hoffman, he isn't responding. And so I had to figure out, how do I get something that's going to appeal to him? So the real unlock was actually a guy by the name of Jay Roach. How many of you have ever heard of Jay Roach? Exactly. Jay Roach is easy to get to. So Jay Roach is the 12th highest grossing filmmaker of all time.
Ah.
He did Meet the Parents, Austin Powers, and Borat, right? So he's worked
nice. Been waiting for 10 years to do that. I like. Can you imagine being married to me? And it was brutal 2 years for my wife.
I'm sure
doing
Jay,
Borat.
I'm sure Jay is helping to cast the next one. If
exactly.
You ever. And so I could get to Jay. And if I could get Jay hooked, I could use Jay to help me get Dustin, which is then what happened. So actually, Jay was the unlock.
It's so interesting. And I remember the economics.
And he's also a wonderful man.
He also is a wonderful human. And what's great also is I was trying to figure out where, and trying to contextualize where your product sits between, entertainment, things we would watch, on television where people were sharing their knowledge, and let's face it, clunky online education. And how much is the fact that you took production of educational content to a level never before seen in your success? Because let's face it, everybody was on YouTube doing how-to videos. Lynda.com existed. I mean, people were, doing picture-in-a-picture, poorly lit stuff. And I saw your content and I was like, whoa, this is next level. How much was that an unlock? Just taking production value, what would you say, 3x, 4x of what was available on YouTube?
I mean, maybe 10x cost-wise.
No, I mean, these were 50K shoots, 25, 50K shoots?
Ours?
Yeah.
Much more.
100, 200?
Even more than that.
Wow.
I mean, we spend like it is a feature film.
No shit.
Yeah. And the unlock, and this is tons of this is what occurs at a startup, is I didn't know that was going to be an unlock. I literally went to film a test shoot, and we filmed it, and it looked like shit. It looked like worse than anything on the web. And so I was trying to figure out who I could speak to that was going to help. And there was a professor at my grad school named Bill Gutentag, who has won 2 Oscars for filmmaking. So I was like, he's somebody who's going to have advice. So I asked him to go out to lunch, and I said, hey, I need help to film this stuff. Do you have anybody I could talk to? Any advice? Because here's the stuff I've done, and it looks like shit. And he goes, you're not going to have me film it? And I was like, it never even crossed my mind that an Academy Award winner would actually want to shoot this stuff. And it was one of those things that you just grow in that journey when you're like, oh my God, I actually could make this stuff look like a movie. And we tried it, and it just changes the entire brand feel, but also the actual engagement rates. So that was something that was not part of the original plan.
Thanks again to the Walker Corporate Law Group, a boutique law firm specializing in startups, for supporting This Week in Startups for a decade. Thank you, Scott. From me, Jason Calacanis, to you, Scott Walker. Thank you not only for supporting the program, but for supporting all the startups I've sent to you over the years. You know the Walker Corporate Law encourages fixed fees. They believe billable hours are inefficient, and they will give you a fixed fee so that when you get that bill at the end of the month, boom, you know what you're going to pay. You're not going to have that sticker shock when you open the PDF. Additional services, mergers and acquisitions, licensing arrangements, terms of service, privacy policies, all that stuff that you need to do to make sure your startup is protected and done right. And their lawyers have decades of experience, 10, 20 years or more. There are no junior associates getting on-the-job training with your startup. So if you want to talk to the founder himself, Scott Ed Walker, go directly to walkercorporatelaw.com or email Scott at walkercorporatelaw.com. Scott at walkercorporatelaw.com, or call 415-979-9998. 415-979-9998. Okay, let's get back to this amazing episode. Let's talk about efficacy. What is your expectation and goal if 1,000 people, I'm just going to pick a number, watch who's doing the music one? Is that Timbaland?
Was the last one.
Yeah. So somebody, 1,000 people who are aspiring to be in music production, watch a Timbaland MasterClass. What is your expectation of what will happen to them when they're done? And what is their expectation out of 1,000? Do you expect that some number are already in the industry? Some people are just looking for entertainment value. How do you think about your target customer and what their outcome will be?
Yeah, so our target customer is, you often think of that they're a group of people that love a certain field, that I want to be able to make music, produce music. And then we usually talk about there's another group of people that love to learn. The group that reads a lot, that listens to podcasts. What we found is our target consumer is the intersection of those two. So it's somebody who loves to learn, and let me ask you, how many of you at some point in your life have gotten really intrigued by a kind of field and have decided to dig deep into it? An example of this is you are on YouTube and you go down a rabbit hole. How many of you has that fallen to? Yeah. So that's our audience. So it's a mix of I'm going to learn something, but I'm going to be entertained in that process. And the reason I believe so strongly in that is for us in school, I think, at least for when I was in school, the whole point of school was I have a teacher who has these facts, and they're going to share them to, they have facts in their head or in their book, and they're going to pass them on to you. But the internet changed that. Internet's changed. All of a sudden, facts are everywhere around us. And so the goal of school was to inspire and excite you to want to go learn more. And so I see kind of our mission, our goal is to do that.
But yeah, the world has an unlimited amount of opportunity. I think we both agree, and an unlimited amount of information out there. And it seems to me what's lacking is people's motivation, maybe. And this, when you watch it, makes you want to learn, makes you want to take action.
I think it also tries to make it more fair, because I still think I think what we are trying to change is make it possible for anybody in the world to learn from the best. And for a long time, that was not possible. And so the idea that somebody who doesn't have that fund, a lot of money, or is in the right location in the world, can still learn from a Dustin Hoffman and be inspired and learn the things that he's learned over decades. It's not instead of school. It's not going to replace to actually do the craft, but at least it will inspire and excite you, and you'll be on the same level field.
When let's get back to outcomes. What is the outcome that you've seen? I'm sure there's anecdotal evidence and anecdotal stories of people getting inspired by it. But is there a goal you have? Is the goal entertaining, or to actually get people to make products or change careers? What do you talk about internally as the goal?
What we talk about internally and measure, and this is gonna sound like very high ambition, is like, I really want to change lives. So our goal is, if we change your life. Right now, about 25% of our students say that MasterClass changes their life.
Wow.
So it's not about NPS scores. It's not about course complete, how many finish, how engaged you are. It's if I'm changing your life.
How do you ask that question and measure it? Have you come up with a methodology like NPS?
Yeah, we have. We found the best way is literally just ask people. So we literally ask you if MasterClass changes your life.
Just a yes/no question.
Exactly. We also have tried NPS scores. We've tried how to rate each class, but we found the best way to do it is simply ask people if you had a profound impact on their life.
Why do the teachers do it today? Let's take the Dustin Hoffman, I'll say yes to anything. The Bill Murray, I'm going to go to a party tonight, whichever one I find first. Those are unique individuals in all the world. And have you gotten Bill Murray?
We have not gotten Bill yet. Bill,
is that your Moby Dick?
Or listening? What?
Is that your Moby Dick?
I would love to get Bill Murray. The
It
one
seems
I really,
to me. Oh, well, go ahead.
the
Who's
one
the
I
Moby
really
Dick?
want is Elon Musk.
Oh,
Right?
what's that? Is that a request? You're asking me to.
Yes, please.
That's interesting. What would you want Elon to teach?
Anything he wants.
Okay.
But I think as an entrepreneur, I think it's really hard to know if, and I have insecure. I'm insecure about this. I don't know if I'm a great entrepreneur, and I think so hard to tell when somebody has one outcome that it does well. How much of that was the market? How much of it was luck?
Timing.
Elon's one of the few people in the world who has done it 3 or 4 times in industries that aren't related, and he's changed the world. I don't want a chapter on. I would avoid from him one on using Twitter, but I would love one.
How about dank memes? Do you have a dank meme class?
No, but he would be very good.
I think that's the way to present it. We want you to do a master class. Hi, I'm Elon Musk, and this is my master class on dank memes. The dankest of memes. I don't know what the word dank means. It's something like dark or inappropriate. Do you understand what dank means?
Not really.
Somebody get back to me on this, because I don't understand. I know there's memes, and I know there are dank memes. And it's a subset of memes that are the darkest. Yeah, I don't know. Why do people teach the classes? When you're talking to them, putting aside the Dustins of the world, what is your pitch to them, and how has that changed over time?
Yeah, it has changed over time. And I also had to learn how to pitch them, right? So the pitch early on was much more, hey, this is your chance to be part of a tech startup.
Okay,
Which
great.
appealed to some folks.
Sure, yeah, they're like, the Hollywood people all want to be involved in tech, and tech wants to be involved in Hollywood. It's peanut butter and jelly, yeah.
And so I try to combine that, but I had to still pitch that this is a chance to actually teach people. Yep. All these people have opportunities elsewhere in the world to make tons of money. So isn't about that.
No.
It's you have to excite them. And what I found especially in the first group was they had somebody in their life that changed their life. They had somebody who was their mentor or coach that really transformed changed their life. And so I was really trying to appeal into that. The parts I had to overcome was that these classes would be high quality. It was going to look good, right? That ended up being very important to help sell on the instructor side. That we were going to be very careful on brand, right? They don't want to be part of, something that's going to hurt their brand.
They're gun shy about that, right?
Yeah. And the agents and the managers are very gun shy about that, right?
Yeah, they get fired for doing a bad booking, a bad gig.
And we were risky. Right? I was an unknown person to them.
Yeah.
It's a tech startup that is going to have to change if things do not work. And so that was a much harder pitch in the beginning. Now we say no to 9 out of 10 people.
Wow. So now it has flipped. People are coming to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that experience. I was going through it and I was like, God, it's so great to see the success. And then I started Daniel Negreanu doing poker and his music, and I was like, well, I'm the world's greatest angel investor. He's never asked me to do and I teach a course called Angel University. He never asked me to do it. And I was like, should I reach out and ask? And I was like, I have a feeling it's like one of those things where you're asked to do it. So I purposely didn't reach out to you. I was like, yeah, if it's a fit, he would reach out.
If we were going to pick somebody in angel investing, we would pick you, Jason.
Not heard, and I suppose, world's greatest angel invest 6 unicorns. Just, pretty good on camera. Yeah.
And pretty funny.
Got a couple funnies in there. And nobody else has done it.
And your shushing skills
It's just
world-class.
World-class shushing skills. But, I don't want to make it about me. But have you thought about that? Just spitballing. Do you think people would want an angel?
Next question, please.
You already know Envision as the product design platform used by thousands of startups. All my startups use it. And it's also used by 100% of the Fortune 100. Well, now they have a new offering with startups in mind. It's called Envision for Startups. And they will help you streamline your workflow from design to development and will make your startup life so much more manageable. Envision for Startups gives you the full suite of Envision tools, all packaged with a startup in mind. Get unlimited accounts, and that's what you need. You want everybody to have a voice in product development. Some people a little bit of less of a voice, some people a little bit more. It's one of the nice things about having a SaaS product with unlimited seats like that. Everybody gets to have a voice and you get to centrally control that. Plus, you get the enterprise-level security and custom support. And here is my CMO, Presh, inviting teammates to help create a simple, freehand drawing. Look at how beautiful that is. With Envision tools, it's so simple. He's making an iPhone mock-up in just seconds. And he has a full one done in minutes. And this is freehand collaboration. It lets you draw just like you're using a pencil and your beautiful moleskin. Boom, you just do that all online from concept all the way to development. So here is your call to action. I want you to go to envision.com/twist. That's INVISION, Envision. You know how to spell it, INVISION.com/twist. As in This Week in Startups, streamline your workflow with unlimited users on the full suite of Envision tools plus enterprise-level security and support. So all your designs, all your great ideas are safe and secure for your team to iterate on. Go ahead and check it out, envision.com/twist. Let's get back to this amazing episode. I understand this approach, though. It's often when people ask to do something, they're the wrong person. Right? It's almost like the act of asking to be in it is the sign that you're not the right person. I often will get people who are like, I'd like to give the fireside chat for Launch Festival next year. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what do you do? And they're like, I'm starting a company. And I'm like, you're starting a company? Yeah, I got great ideas. And I'm like, well, that's not kind of how the fireside chat, you kind of earn it through the performance. And that's interesting. How do you decline? Because I'm assuming some of the people who are coming to you are exceptional, but maybe not Spielberg or Dustin Hoffman, because that's sort of the level this has gotten to. So they might be number 7 in their field, but you're waiting for 1, 2, and 3. Is that right?
Yeah, and I mean, early on, I would try to dance around it.
Yeah.
And I learned that actually annoys people. And just to be honest and be like, hey, I think you're great. I'm a fan of yours, but our team does testing, and right now this isn't the one that tests great. And
the course, right? You can go on the topic.
I can test both the person. Our internal team tests both the instructor and the topic.
How?
Oh, we do lots of work because if you think about how strange this is in education, how many times in school are you ever asked, what is it that you want to learn? Or who is it you want to learn from? That is never asked in school. So one of the things that was really important to us, if we're going to build someplace that you love to learn, is we're going to try to ask people and try to figure out who is it that you actually want to learn from. So I'll give an example. A Wilt Chamberlain in basketball would not have been great for us, because if I was naturally that tall and athletic, I'd be a Hall of Famer too. Steph Curry was a great choice because I think I could be Steph Curry. Now, obviously I can't, but Steph Curry is 6'1", 180 pounds.
He's like 180 pounds wet with sneakers on and a jacket.
And he had to bust his ass to become one of the best players.
He was, the 7th pick? I mean, he's not the first pick, so he's accessible.
And in college, I was unsure if he was even going to get to go to school to play ball. And so, that's somebody who has worked really hard, has mastered the craft, is able to talk about it, is somebody who's great, and is also a great person. So Steph, to us, was a great one to start out basketball.
Fantastic. Now, how do you develop the curriculum? Because I saw in this answer, hey, can they speak well about the topic? And how often do you come across somebody who you're like, I think you had Werner Herzog, is that right? And so that to me was wonderful, okay, great. This is the craziest documentary director ever. Fitzcarraldo, all this crazy stuff. Grizzly Man, what a great choice. And it falls into that Steph Curry thing, which is this guy's a madman. He's got a perspective. And the perspective is going to be crazy and interesting and unique. How do you develop a curriculum? And how often do the people who you pick go, I don't know what to say? And how should I say that? And do they feel like my luck is random and why should I be the person?
I think one of the most amazing things to me that I learned about people who are the best in the world is I had this illusion that if you're the best in the world and world famous, you kind of don't work hard. You kind of go to job and you can do whatever you want. That is completely wrong. These are some of the hardest working people I've ever seen in my entire life. And they're insecure about their craft. These are people that are the best sellers, have won tons of Grammys, and I don't know if that insecurity helps drive them to keep learning, to keep improving. But these are people who have dedicated their entire lives into their craft. So, and it's one of the most amazing things is nobody usually asks them to actually teach. And so this is a brand new thing for them. So I remember our first class that we actually filmed was with James Patterson. James Patterson, how many of you have heard of James Patterson? James Patterson is the best-selling author in the world. He's done 116 books. I think 108 of them are Times bestsellers. Before he was an author, he was the CEO of J. Walter Thompson, the ad agency firm. So I remember our team did tons of work before the class to prep. What are the things that people want to learn? We talked to potential students. We talked to other teachers. We talked to other authors. And we came up with our list of 12 big themes. So we then go to meet with Jim. And Jim comes with his list of things that he wants to teach. Our lists are exactly the same except for one thing. What he doesn't have on his list, but was the number one thing for us, was how to overcome when you get writer's block. You have to remember. So I was like, Jim, this is the number one thing. He's like, I write 12 books a year. I don't get writer's block. I was like, but Jim, this is the number one thing. He's like, I hear you. I'm just saying, I don't get it. And so we actually then said, okay, why don't we talk? Why don't we explore that? So we started to talk to him about it. And he's like, holy shit, I forgot. I used to get it. And what I started doing is writing 12 books a year. So if I ever got stuck, I could just go on to the next one. Ends up being one of the best chapters in the entire class. And it's something that it's a combination of, them and us trying to explore that and work together.
That's fantastic. What about the real world? I remember when we met, I was like, the Learning Annex was a thing in New York, and it really had a cult following. And they were always trying to recruit me to do journalism when I was a journalist in New York. And they kind of took a different approach to you, which was like, we'll just get people to do it for free. They had the same insight you had, which was, people want to learn, and there's a bunch of people out there who are non-traditional teachers. What they didn't get was they just did spray and pray. They did not have any curation ability. Yep. And everything was like $100 or whatever. But have you thought about the real world? Because it does seem to me that, $25 a month or $300 to take a course, whatever it is now, I think, 25.
$180 a year for access to everything.
Oh, wow, it's gone down. Yeah, so that's great. You keep lowering the price and providing more courses.
And sales go up.
It's incredible. What an amazing model. The library gets bigger, you lower the price, people don't unsubscribe because there's always something new. What's the cadence now? A new course every...
We're doing about 2 a month.
Wow. And they take how long to shoot?
And the whole process end to end can be anywhere between 3 to 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many people do you put on a team to make a specific one, and do they work on multiple concurrently? How do you organize that?
Yeah, the creative team is basically a team of 2 that is fully dedicated to that class, and then people come on and off depending on what skill set that they need.
Did you build your own studio now? You got your own facility?
We actually one of the things we did, because we wanted it to actually look good, is not do a studio. So we do it on location. We think you go to where it is you'd want to learn from that person. So Serena Williams, it's on her tennis court. Phil Ivey was basically like a room that Phil likes to play poker in.
Yeah.
How many of you have watched him on the web play poker?
Yeah. Couple. Type in Daniel Negreanu Calacanis, because that's when I destroy Daniel Negreanu. Do not type in Doyle Brunson Calacanis, because that's when I get destroyed by
It's great.
him. It's great. Thank you. Daniel is still sore about that hand. Still very sore about it. Hey, now that you're at this level, how do you think about live? You're going to do live? Yeah, we started.
No. Lots of entrepreneurs are pushing to live, and I can't figure out, to be honest, how to do it at scale. Live takes a tremendous amount of work. It can be an awesome experience. I think it's really amazing.
Yeah, Tony Robbins, Oprah, the Obamas, everybody's doing these live tours around their books.
Right. And
podcasts, too.
And podcasts. So, they either go very high price points, right?
Yes, thousands of dollars.
Thousands of dollars to do it. Or it is such massive scale that they're on a tour. Right.
Right. So they're selling the book.
They're selling the book to everybody in the audience, and they're doing 6, things a week. For a tech startup, my own impression or my own belief is in the beginning you should do almost everything live, because you get to learn much more. Right. So we would put our classes in front of people. I'd watch them watch it. Right. I can see what the reactions are. I can see if they're into it. At scale, I guess. My own belief is you have to really figure out and think, how is this going to scale before trying to invest a lot into it? Because otherwise it's just going to be hard to...
When did you get the domain name? And how did you get the domain name?
Oh, it's a good story. We really wanted it. And it was... somebody owned it, and they hadn't touched it in 12 years. And it was like jazz classes that they were not using. And I thought it was going to be impossible. And my co-founder was like, I'm going to see what I can do. And so he started to dig online, and he found out this guy is a music editor down in Los Angeles. And so he sent him a cold email and was like, this is our mission. This is what we want to do. Are you open to selling it? And the guy said, I will if I get some stock.
Oh, my yum yum. So he owns 1%. Oh, my Lord.
It's a bit less than that. But he's been fantastic. So
50 basis points is material with $1 billion, because your company was kind of cresting towards $1 billion and $100 million in revenue. So 50 million in revenue with 50 basis points and carry the 2. Yeah, it's big. It's $5 million domain and well worth it.
I didn't confirm any of those numbers. But him and his family have been really great. And we invite them to come to our big parties and our company lunches, stuff like that.
And you bought his house in Pacific Palisades. And it's actually worth it. It is worth it, right? Like, because when you show up with a baller domain name, people are like, how did you get that domain name? It's baller.
I think I hope so. I have not heard anybody say what a baller we are.
But do you get the sense they're thinking it?
It did not work on you.
I'm an idiot. Like, I was looking at it. It's one of the great regrets I have, because at that time I just thought, I'm an angel investor, do the early, $5 million things. That's what worked for me. And you were at 20 or 30, whatever it was. And the big lesson in that is, it was clear to me that you were going to win at this startup or the next. And that was 5 years ago we met or something. And yeah, and it was so clear to me. There was like a sign and a glow around you, like winner. And the idea was so good. The domain was so good. Dustin Hoffman is incredible. And when you go on to be an investor, which you'll do as seed investor, something like that at time, in all likelihood, you'll have this little checkbox. And the one that's most important is this person a winner? Do they want to win, or are they going to win? And so when I evaluate companies, you're really evaluating the person and their desire to win. How's that for an audition for the MasterClass? I'm angel investor Jason Calacanis, and this is my MasterClass. Hiring is always hard, and it's getting really hard today because we've got unemployment at historic lows. Also, many people just throw a job posting out there. They put it on their job board or some random message board or dump it in your Slack room. That's not going to work. It's not going to work. But what is going to work is to go ahead and use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where 610 million members visit, and they do that to make connections, learn, and grow as professionals. And sometimes they're looking to discover new job opportunities, or sometimes they're passive job seekers, and that is the secret. Not everybody is going to a job board every day looking for jobs, but LinkedIn will present opportunities to those hundreds of millions of LinkedIn users. And here's how easy it is. You just simply go to LinkedIn, and it's really easy because you say where you're looking for the person, you put in your job, you can then look for what experiences you want them to have. How many years of marketing, you set a budget, boom. It's up and running, and you will find somebody quickly. How do I know this? Because we found 2 of our 15 team members on LinkedIn very recently. Sir Charles, our new director, and our marketing manager, Maureen. You can create these job listings quickly and easily, and I'm going to give you $50 right now. That's right, $50 right now for your first job posting. I want you to go to linkedin.com/twist. Go to linkedin.com/twist, and you will get $50 off your first job posting. Terms and conditions, of course, apply. Let's get back to this amazing episode. It has a ring to it. You have to admit, I did deliver the line. I'm not saying all morning I was practicing that line to try to impress you, and I brought you here to lock down the MasterClass. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, I think that people will, doing a MasterClass to me now, it's sort of like, I think you're like this, checkbox for people that, hey, they've reached a certain level that they deserve a MasterClass. I think that's probably the greatest success, is that people are probably waiting for you to ring the phone.
Yeah, it was really awesome, because in the beginning, and you guys, I know have experienced this, I mean, it was just no after no. And recently we were at one of the talent agencies down in Los Angeles, and we're meeting with one of the big agents, and he goes, "You guys are the most exclusive club in the world." Wow. And I was like, holy shit, we've gone from please join the club to now one of the most, yeah.
One of the great things is I play poker every week with the world's greatest poker player, named,
I can tell you who I think, Phil Ivey.
Okay, the most winning World Series of Poker with the most bracelets is Phil Hellmuth. Now, and I torture Phil.
Yeah.
Because Phil has an ego that makes me look humble. He is way out there. His email is being the greatest. And I'm like, when I first met him, like a decade ago, when we started playing card game, I'm like, being the greatest. Gmail. Is that really your email? He's like, well, I'm aspiring, and it reminds me every day to try to be the greatest. And I was like, yeah, it's a good save, and when I saw Daniel was on MasterClass, I waited. I'm in the hand with him. He loses a big pot to me, and he's furious. And when we play cards with him, we all slow play. I know you like to play cards. We all slow play him, and we like try to trap him, and then we bust him. And net, he beats us, but the moments when we do beat him is so glorious. So I'm like, I'm going to set this up. I'm going to MasterClass the fuck out of him. So I beat him in a hand that I have no business handing him. And I go, I could take you behind the hand and how I did that. And he's like, Calacanis, I don't have time, it's whatever. And I go, well, I took Daniel Negreanu's MasterClass because he's the best poker player in the world. And he said the best way to play these suited connections. And I started breaking his chops. And I was like, and, they have another one. They may have an even better one now. It's Phil Ivey's. I mean, these are the top 2 poker players in the world. And it is, let me tell you something. He must have asked you how many times? 50? How many times Phil Hellmuth asked you to be in MasterClass? You can't say.
I cannot reveal that.
You can't reveal that.
I can't reveal that.
Or the domain name price. But I'm going to put the over-under at 12. And that's so hilarious because he is kind of up there, but the fact that he didn't get it is, I'm sure it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's got to be hard.
Yeah.
It's got to be hard. So hard. And I love it.
He is
I
a
love
great
you
poker
for it.
player. He's a great poker player.
He's a great poker player, but you know what? He would be really hard to coach him in a MasterClass, I think.
I think you ruin it if you try to coach him.
Yeah.
You have
to let him go. He's got to let him go.
You have to let him go.
What about Draymond Green? He would be perfect. Talk about another overachiever, like for his position and with some other point of view. Draymond would be amazing. Who else do you have in basketball?
In basketball, Steph right now is the only one that we have live. There are going to be some more that come in. Yeah,
that's a great one.
Yeah.
It's Serena. Who else is on your short list that you haven't gotten yet? That if they're listening, you would be like, Obama. I don't know. Has Obama done one or no?
Obama has not done one yet. Love to have
that would
him
be
and Michelle.
Yeah.
Would be amazing.
I mean, Obama talking about building consensus or running for office or something in that
how
way.
to lead would be
how
amazing.
How to lead,
would
leadership, amazing.
Would love a class from Warren Buffett.
Oh, yeah. Charlie Munger.
Or Charlie Munger would be amazing.
He owned that Art Deco building on San Vicente.
I do know that, actually.
Yeah, because I was on the Brentwood Homeowners Association. He was trying to build a huge movie there in Plaza there, and we voted him down.
Traffic would be disastrous.
They wanted to take the median and rip it out over there. And I was like, you cannot start your discussion in Brentwood with ripping out the median where the trees are, the coral trees are. Are you bonkers? So Munger, he's the big one. Yeah. Who else?
J.K. Rowling. I would love a class from J.K. Rowling.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. If you are watching or
Did you get
Twitter,
Spielberg?
We have not got Spielberg yet. Love one from Spielberg. Love one from James Cameron.
That's a good one, yeah.
There's tons of people. Part of the idea, it was imagine if you could have taken a class from the Wright brothers. Even if 80% was wrong, right?
Yeah.
Imagine how neat that would be, and it would maybe inspire somebody who would have never had access to them to actually become a master. And maybe, just maybe, could we speed up the rate of change and the rate of invention if you could take what's in the brains of the best in the world and have that be as your kind of base?
Yeah. Fantastic. If you sincerely want to do Elon, if you forward me the email, I'll forward it on to him and tell him
we'd love to
we're
do
friends.
Elon.
Yeah. Okay, great. But at least
It could
maybe
be a combo deal. If you get Elon,
I get to do the I like it. Hey Elon, I'm desperate to do a MasterClass. How do you feel about that? Hi, it's Elon Musk and Jason Calacanis teaching you about dank memes. You've had a couple of offers to sell. You haven't. You're gonna take this all the way, aren't you?
I would love to. This is one. I think one of the things I had to learn was what actually drives me.
On a personal level. Makes you want to wake up in the morning.
Yeah, and so the story, if I can share a second of how
Yes.
this got started, because then it'll feed into this. Is that okay?
Yeah,
with
of
you?
course. Let's do it.
So I at the time was working for a great seed investor named Michael Deering
Sure.
out in the Bay Area.
Legit.
And I was investing with him, and he is brilliant. And I didn't love it, actually. And I realized I missed the kind of to build and create. And so I talked to him about it. And he goes, well, do you have an idea? I was like, I got a couple. I'm not really sure. And he's like, that's okay. Why don't you propose an offer? So I proposed an offer. And he basically wrote me a check for $500,000 and said, I need to go think of an idea. And
It's good to have friends.
I mean, holy shit.
Right?
You think it's really awesome. It sounds really awesome. It is terrifying because it's a once-in-a-lifetime chance I'm never going to get again.
Yeah.
And it's tons of pressure to think of a good idea, and I can't complain about it to anybody because what's a complaint going to be? I have $500,000. I can do whatever I want.
You get punched in the face. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't.
Boo-hoo! I have a bank account with $500,000 and no ideas. Yeah. Too many ideas.
But
what do I do?
Thank you for voicing all the
internal voice. Yes.
Internal voice I had.
Your therapist did the same thing, right?
I
He's
went
like,
to my.
boo-hoo! I would never be a good therapist.
Jason Calconis on therapy.
Yeah.
So I went to my therapist. I have a really great therapist. And I was, and she's like, I'm sure the stress is real, but fucking deal with it, right? And,
she's awesome. Can I get a referral?
She's an awesome therapist. And I think when I realized was so hard for me was almost everything in life that you do has constraints. This had almost none. And I realized I need constraints to be creative.
Sure.
And so I was trying to think, what are the constraints? And is it the market size? Is it the growth rate of the market? All these things. And then I met this person, I don't even remember who it was, and she gave me this great constraint. She says, pick something that even if it fails, you are still going to be proud of it.
Wow.
All of a sudden, all those ideas I had that about the growing market, there's going to be huge, it went out. It went to, what is it that I'd be proud of?
Yeah.
And for me, that meant it was going to be education. And so I was raised in part by my grandmother. And I remember going to her house after school one day. So I was in second grade. So I don't know, you're 8 or 9 years old.
Yep.
And I went to her house after school and I was complaining to her about all the math homework I had, which obviously I did not have a lot because I'm like 8 years old.
Yeah.
And she tells me that she has a story to tell me, which as an 8-year-old is like the last thing you want to hear.
I have a story for you.
Exactly.
Here we go.
But I'm at her house. She controls the food and my ride home. I'm going to hear the story. And I'm a little scared of her. And so I'm going to hear her story. So my grandma tells me the story. So my grandma was 16 years old and living in Krakow, it was in Krakow, Poland. And she went on a family vacation, her and her mom. And her dad was scheduled to join. He actually had work, so he decided to stay home for an extra day to finish it. And while they're on vacation, the Nazis invaded. They took everything. They killed her father. She flees to the States, gets a job. The only job she can get is on a factory floor in New York City, and is working on the factory floor. Her and her mom are side by side, and my grandma decides she wants to be a doctor. And so she finds every medical school she can find. This is before the days of a computer. So she writes hand applications over 25 schools. And she gets a no from every single school. She keeps working in the factory, applies again the next year, all 25, gets a no again. Starts calling the deans of admissions, asking why am I not getting in? And they all hang up on her except for one who says, I'll be honest, you have 3 strikes against you. You're a woman, you are an immigrant, and you're Jewish. Hangs up the phone. Goes back to the factory, applies again next year, all 25. She gets into one and becomes a doctor. And I'm staring at her because at age 8, this is heavy shit to be hearing for complaining about math homework. Yeah. And she stares at me. She goes, David, the point I'm trying to make to you is that education's the only thing that a person can't take away from you. And that always stuck with me. And so we actually named our parent company, like, is after her. And I realized the one thing, if I had something I was being proud of, even if it failed, was trying to help people learn.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that story. It's incredible. There's no question I can ask. There's nothing we can say that would be more powerful than that ending. Ladies and gentlemen, go subscribe to MasterClass, and I want you to give it up one more time for David.